Welcome to the Black Knight Nation podcast. I'm Sal Interdonato. The podcast is brought to you by Higher Echelon. Higher Echelon is your go-to trusted partner for organizational excellence. Higher Echelon was founded by Joe Ross, former Army fullback and former Army football coach, and Joe is now leading Higher Echelon, which is a world-class consulting firm that trains employees in sports psychology secrets. Speaking of fullbacks, we're going to welcome in former Army fullback Collin Mooney to the Black Knight Nation podcast. Collin, thanks for taking a couple the time to join us today.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me. It's really great to be here. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. It's great to see you again.
Yeah, it has been a while. I might have saw you at one of those Army alumni golf functions. Who knows? That was going back in the day, but great to catch up with you. And we try to get former Army football players on this podcast to talk about their time at West Point as a cadet football. And you have a special story, no doubt, with being able to be one of the few to make it to the NFL. And kind of now you look at, there's 4 NFL players now that came from Army. So we'll get into that. First off, you were, I see hashtags on social media with make fullbacks great again. Well, you were what started the new fullback, what fullbacks are today at Army when you, in 2008, your senior year, Army moves to like a triple option style offense, right? Under Stan Brock. And do you remember the conversation, what that was all about and how that came about? And you had to be excited because, you had what a season you had your senior year. So.
Yeah. It was really great to have that opportunity. Was amazing. And Army's really had a tradition of, a strong fullback. I think that's kind of been, our thing. I think fullback U was kind of a thing going around for a little while, but and it started. It goes way back. It goes back to guys like, Joe Ross and Mike Beatty and guys way before me, really laid that groundwork. And really it set a tone for me as far as wanting to follow that example of, being a leader on the field and being one of the hardest workers in the room and, showing up and being ready to play and being that guy that, that works hard and puts it all out there. So, the guys before me had really set the tone. I just showed up and, ran straight. It was when we implemented the option in 2008, we had been a pro style offense well before that for many years before that. So it was a bit of a transition and I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And really they just said, run straight and, see what happens. And that's what I did. And it just kind of fell into place. And, having the guys that we did up front made it all work. And having a line that we did, those were the guys in the trenches really making it happen. I literally, all I had to do was take the ball and, just put my head down and hope for the best. So, really just get low, run hard. If you got the ball, great, and keep on running. If you didn't, you're probably going to get tackled by somebody. Right. And that was my job. It was really either get the ball and run it or don't get the ball and get tackled so that, some defenders taken out of the play. So that was really my job. And, we had guys up front like, Ali Villanueva that were blocking for me. Yeah. So, if we were running, belly to the left side, I just hide behind him and, hopefully pop out on the other side. So it was really the guys in front that made it happen. And then, just the support around me. The record and doing all that stuff. It was a testament to the entire team that year. We didn't have the best record, but we were running the ball pretty well. At least after game 3 is when it started to click a little bit. I think it was after A&M that we really started to get it going. And then, Tulane was probably the most fun game I've ever played in. It was like, we were playing at the original Tulane Stadium, which was basically like a high school practice field. Not to be disparaging about their fielder, but it was pretty rough. And I think that I believe they built a new one so that they have a really nice facility now. But in 2008, it was a pretty rough field. So but it was so much fun in that game because everything was clicking. Everybody on the team was clicking in that game. So it was a good time.
I can't imagine like your reaction when you were told, "Hey, we're going to go to this triple option offense, and you're going to be kind of the focal point of the offense." That must have been something that was, I mean, especially when you're entering your senior year. And yeah, you had a role on the team your junior year, no doubt. You backed up Feedy your junior year, right?
I did, yeah. So it wasn't until my senior year that I actually got an opportunity to start. And it wasn't. I mean, up until that point, I had maybe 2 carries. Maybe 3 at that point. So I hadn't touched the ball at all. I was a blocking fullback. And so when they said, "Hey, you're going to run it," all right, let's go. And then ended up having, well over 100 carries that season. I mean, it was kind of insane to think. It went from having maybe 2 to having 140 or something like that. So it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I didn't make the connection. I forgot that was Ali's 1 year that he played the offensive line in college, right? You talked a little bit about what it was like. I mean, running behind him, but I mean, that was something. He's somebody that you just still to this day have not seen at West Point as an offensive lineman, right? I mean, just his skills and his athletic ability.
Yeah, Ali's a different type of human being in many ways. And you don't see many guys that are 6'9", 350 pounds coming through West Point. I mean, it's fairly unusual. So to be able to do what he did is pretty remarkable, and what he's doing now is remarkable. So he's a great player. He's a great athlete. He's a great person in general. So it's been fun to watch him and his progression, not only through his Army career, but in his football career, and knowing the way that I know him, it's just been fun to watch. I feel like I've watched him grow up from when he was a junior. We were actually travel roommates senior year. Yeah, so on the road we were staying in the hotel together for every game. So when he was a junior and I was a senior, so yeah, just be able to watch him grow and progress the way that he has, as a person and as a player, has been really great to see. And I'm fortunate that he was playing tackle when I was running the ball. I mean, he was pancaking people back then, so it made it much easier for me.
Yeah, I remember when he first came to West Point his freshman year, and I'm like, he might have been playing a little scout. Who knows when you're a freshman? I'm seeing this defensive lineman just knock down passes left and right. And at that point, you guys were throwing the ball more. And it was just like, this guy is going to have some kind of impact on this program, no doubt. And, man, I mean, just the fact that you two have that story together, that you were roommates, teammates, he blocked for you. And then did you kind of share also, was it around the same time the NFL story was kind of evolving for both of you guys around the same time too, or no?
Yeah. So he actually, I remember it was probably around 2011, 2012, right before I had signed with the Titans. He had called me and he was asking advice about the NFL situation because I think he had just done a tryout with Cincinnati, and then he was with the Eagles for a little bit after that. But he was trying to he had done mini camps, like I had done, and he was trying to understand the process and what it looked like with the Army and everything else. So he was trying to get some advice. So I remember talking to him on the phone when I was stationed at Fort Sill before I had gone off to play. And he was trying to figure it out as well. So it was kind of one of those things where we're just like leaning on each other to try to figure this whole thing out, because it's at that time it was kind of uncharted territory as far as the Army policy goes and how that all worked out, because there wasn't a standardized policy across the board, and it was I don't know. It wasn't well defined at that time, like it is now. So I'm glad that they got it figured out, and so we were just trying to navigate that together, and it's worked out.
No doubt. Got to ask you how you got to Army. Like, what was your recruiting like? I always kind of ask this with the guys that come on. Like, how you end up at Army coming from Katy, Texas?
So I had actually Army football really didn't want me. So I was not highly recruited. I played linebacker in high school. I didn't have the size to be a D1 linebacker. So I had already applied to West Point. I had already had my congressional nomination. Like I was ready to go. So it was convincing Army football to recruit me and not the other way around. So usually it's, they're trying to convince people to come to West Point. It's like, no, like I had to convince them to let me play football. So yeah, they gave me an opportunity. I met with Coach Ross and he said, you can play fullback for us. You're not going to play linebacker, but you can play fullback for us. And so I said, yeah, let's do it. And so, I came in, we had tons of guys on the team at that time. And we had tons of fullbacks in the running back room. And I was probably at the bottom of the depth chart coming into it. And, I just had to work extremely hard, just, work my tail off, to get the opportunity and then, stick around long enough to get the opportunity to start, So yeah, it really was convincing them to give me an opportunity and give me a chance. And not the other way around, I guess, the way that it usually goes.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? You to be coached by Bobby Ross, who had that NFL background too, right? And him giving you I guess they gave you kind of a shot, right, so to speak, or now give you the opportunity.
Yeah, he gave me a shot, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. And I remember, talking with Tucker Wall and Dan Baranek, and man, just super thankful that they gave me an opportunity. Undersized, probably too slow, probably a lot of things that I was not qualified for the job, but I knew I was going to make it happen. So
nice. I think we might have our surprise guest coming in right now.
All right.
In a second. So I don't think, like I said, we were talking before the podcast. I don't think you've met him before, but you guys do share something in common. And once he joins us, we'll let you know. Hey, it's Casey Shorter. How are you, Casey? Oh, Casey's muted right now. We got to wait for Casey.
Sorry.
Hey, Casey, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Colin, do you know Casey?
Hey, kind of. I know you went to Taylor, or you go to Taylor High School.
You know my uncle.
I know your uncle. Yeah. That's awesome, man. I'm so happy for you. It's unbelievable opportunity that you have, and I'm so glad that Army took you. I know you've had a great high school career, and I know you're going to do great things at Army. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him play.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
When I was talking to Casey about his commitment, I think it was over the summer, he was telling me there's a field house at Taylor High School that has your name or poster all over the field house or something, right? Casey goes to the same high school that Colin went to. So talk to us a little bit about that, Case.
Every day we walk past the field house and we see that picture and we just look up to you. Like we want to be like you. We praise you.
That's pretty cool. I didn't realize that they had that. I didn't realize they had something up there. So that's cool to hear. And I'm glad I could at least give you some motivation.
Yeah.
Casey, your uncle was on the coaching staff at Taylor. Is that how it works, or how does your uncle know Colin?
It was in middle school. He coached Colin.
Wow.
In football.
Colin, what were you playing in middle school? Was it linebacker, or what were you doing then?
I was doing a little bit of both. We could actually go both ways in middle school. It wasn't until high school that Texas high school football, you're picking a side. So or they're choosing for you. But in middle school I was playing a little bit of fullback, a lot of linebacker, a little bit of fullback there, a little bit of running back. So yeah, it wasn't until high school that I guess it was my sophomore year, because my freshman year we went both ways, and then once I got on varsity my sophomore year, you're just going one way. So I was just playing defense after that.
Gotcha. Colin, before you came to West Point, were there other high school football players from Katy that had gone to West Point before? Did you follow anybody? Because now this year you have Casey from Taylor, and you have four guys from Katy High School that have committed to Army in this 2021 class. So there's actually 5, I guess, Katy, Texas football players that are a part of this 2021 class for Army. So it's quite a year for Katy football and Army on the recruiting front this year. So.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, Katy has an amazing tradition of football. I mean, it's a big deal there. You think about Texas high school football, Katy is, stereotypical Texas high school football. I mean, it is everything that, you think of when you think of, Texas high school football. I remember when I was coming out, Jared Uakowski, was older than me, and he came from Cinco Ranch High School, which is another Katy school. And I remember, looking up to him as a guy from Katy that went on to West Point and played. So he was an inspiration for me.
I think you played tight end for Army, right?
He did, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Casey, is Collins Collins somebody definitely that you look up to? Somebody that kind of thinking about following the same path from same high school and stuff? Is that? I mean, I know when we talked about it back over the summer, it was something that that resonated. So.
Yeah, well, it's been a big dream of mine to go to NFL too, but I never thought I'd be going to West Point until Coach Vitti contacted me, and that was amazing. And I just want to follow in Colin's footsteps and hopefully make it to NFL one day.
Nice. Yeah. So Colin, Coach Vitti, he was your teammate. So then he's recruiting. Yeah. He's recruiting now in Texas. It's kind of a crazy full circle almost to a point, right?
Right. Yeah. Vitti's great. He's awesome. We're still very much in touch. We're both on the board for a nonprofit called Legacies Alive. It's one that he started. So yeah, we still have a lot of contact. I mean, we've been together since West Point. So he's a great guy, great coach.
And probably one of the toughest guys you've ever met, right? I mean,
no question.
He
took a headbutt like it was nothing without a helmet on from another guy with a helmet on. So, and it reminds me of, I don't know if this came up when that happened, but it reminded me of Boston College. He got hit pretty hard and he was definitely concussed, but he came up like ready to fight people. Like he was still fighting. Like he wanted to go in the game. Like, even though he was extremely concussed, but he's one of the toughest dudes I've ever met.
And now Casey, he'll be your position coach at West Point, right? You're going to play fullback there. So he'll be your position coach at West Point.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you could say you have no doubt one of the toughest football coaches in the country coaching you, because I mean, like Colin said, if you can take a headbutt from an offensive lineman and still stay on your feet during a football game, and that when you're on the sideline, Colin, you can even vouch, it's pretty intense to begin with, right? And I mean, when a lineman comes running at you with full speed with a headbutt, I don't know, man.
Yeah, you're going to be feeling it for sure. But
it's a different level. And I think Barstool Sports gave them the pop the next week, got their due to the week or whatever it is. So, Casey,
he took it like a champ. That was awesome.
No doubt. Casey, tell us a little about yourself as far as football and, what your career was like at Katy and, what you're looking forward to at West Point.
Growing up, I started playing football when I was in 4th grade, and Colin has kind of been my ideal guy. Like, I looked up to him ever since I saw that he got drafted from the NFL, and I knew he went to Taylor, and so I kind of wanted to be like him, and so I started playing at Taylor football, and then what was I gonna say? Well,
how did it all get started for you in high school? How were you able to work your way up to where you are today?
Well, I was gonna play safety, and then they moved me to offense because they noticed I had some speed and some good size, and they put me at running back, and it was tough for opponents to tackle me, and that's when I knew I belonged on offense.
Yeah, you got it. You guys don't share the same. Colin, your head coach at Katy Taylor is not the same as Casey's. Is that they've changed, or this is the same guy?
No, it's a different guy from when I was there.
Yeah, I mean, just
20 years ago. I was saying.
Right? I don't know. I mean, sometimes those guys, you never know, man. Texas football. What was I going to say? What can you even describe? You guys, can you describe, like, Colin? You did a little bit, but just what it's like to play. I mean, because you're playing, not only playing at Texas, but you're playing at high level Texas football there too. I mean, it's they say it's the best football in the country. So.
Yeah, you could argue that. I mean, it was an unbelievable experience. I mean, you're talking about playing high school football and playing in front of, at some games, you're talking about, 15, 20,000 people at a high school game. It's an unbelievable experience. And to be a part of that and to be, part of a tradition of football that is so rich as a place like Katy, Texas. I mean, when I was there, Katy and Katy High School, has always been a powerhouse team, and they've done really well. They've won state championships in Texas, which is a big deal, and they've gone on to multiple state championships. So that's to be able to play in a district like that is very competitive. When you have schools like Katy that are going on to state championships, and and now there's probably 7 or 8 schools in Katy, and it keeps growing, and there's just better and better players, and the competition is really high. So it makes for great football. I mean, it really does.
Yeah, I think Katy, this year's version of Katy won the state championship this year. So, and like we said, 4 players off that. Casey, just when you what do you think about when you think Katy football, Taylor football? What comes to your mind, bro? What comes to your mind?
Well, Katy used to be like that would be the team we'd want to beat, but I've grown close with 4 players from Katy, so now it doesn't matter that we go to different schools.
You were at their signing day, right? You were at their signing day last month?
Yes, sir.
That's that you guys are getting ready to go to West Point right there, man. You see like four guys on the signing table for and now a 5th recently. Taylor Salisbury yesterday announced, a wide receiver announced yesterday that he's joined the Army football 2021 class. Excellent, man. Hey, Casey, you're welcome to stay on. We're going to keep on talking to Colin. I don't know. Have you seen the recent videos that Jeff Monken's been posting on Twitter with the weight room at
Yes, yeah. I saw the guys squatting. I had to run out to the garage, get some squats in, because they were going big on those squats. Man, putting up some numbers too. I was like, wow, that's impressive.
Because I remember when you played, I mean, that was a big part of your development, right? The weight room and getting stronger, and then when you got your chance your senior year being ready to go, right? I remember, I don't know if I got a chance to see the wall at West Point, but there used to be a wall with the best lifts, right? And stuff. I think there still is probably.
Yeah, there used to be. I don't know if there's. I haven't. Man, I'm trying to think of the last time I was in the weight room, but probably last year or so, or before last year, before all the pandemic stuff. I think the last time I was in there, but yeah, there used to be a big board with all the weightlifting records from each year and stuff, and it was always fun to compete and try to beat the guys on the board. It was, I was always just trying to keep up with VD because he was a beast. So I was just trying to hang on with him.
But you see like quarterback squatting over 500 pounds, right? Or something like that.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
I mean,
insane. Yeah.
Does that kind of when you see those videos, Casey, I mean, does that kind of get you pumped up, ready to go and ready to get to work, so to speak? Or
yeah, it does.
I mean, that was like, they showed like Noah Knapp. I think Noah Knapp, they showed he's the center for Army, right? And 6 foot, 280 pounds, built, and they showed like a 600-pound squat. And I direct messaged the Army football strength coach Colin last night, and I'm like, did he do that yesterday? He's like, no, he did that 2 years ago. He did that 2 years ago. I think he might have been a freshman that year.
Yeah.
Like, we don't get to 600 anymore. We kind of work do a little bit more technique before the 600 range. It's crazy. We're gonna Kyle. Let's talk about your NFL. How NFL worked out for you. Now you were serving in the Army when we talked about a little bit about how this went down. Sort of. What do you think was the break for you, and what do you think was the break for you to get to the NFL? Was there a moment where during that process when you were in the Army trying to transition to the NFL that there was a break for you?
Yeah, I mean, it really didn't come until 2012. So at that time, the policy was that we had to do 24 months of active duty before we could apply for release from active duty into the reserves to be able to go and play. So I had spent 24 months on active duty. And then in 2011, I got an opportunity. I was stationed at Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma. And I actually got an opportunity to do the pro day at OU in Norman. And it was actually it was an unbelievable experience. I mean, there were tons of scouts and everything because that was the year that DeMarco Murray was coming out. So everybody was there to see DeMarco. And, I just happened to catch a couple eyes because I went out there and ran a good 40. I had a good vertical, and they were like, "Who's this Army kid?" Trying to get a shot. So I'd worked really hard for that, and I was getting up super early every single morning before PT, going and doing agility work, and then going and doing Army PT, and then doing my Army job all day, and then at night I would go lift weights, and then a couple nights a week I was going to a local kind of he was coaching high school and junior high kids at the time, and I was going and just catching balls from junior high and high school kids just to, stay in it, run routes and do whatever I could to, stay in the football shape. So yeah, I got that opportunity at the pro day, and it looked like things are going to go pretty well as far as, maybe getting an opportunity to try out for a team, maybe go to a mini camp or something. And literally a week later, the NFL lockout happened in 2011. And it shut down my chances of getting picked up because they didn't lift the lockout wasn't lifted until right before the season started. And it was like this flurry of signing guys to get guys into camp. And I just got lost in all that and didn't get an opportunity. And so I was at the point where I was starting to think this maybe wasn't going to work out. I mean, it had already been 2 years. And then it was, hey, you got to give it another year before you get an opportunity. So, it really took a lot of, contemplation and praying about it and, having faith that something was going to work out. And I gave it another year, kept, stuck to my routine. I was, getting up early, working hard, doing my Army job, doing the best I could at my Army job. Because I was an executive officer for Field Artillery Battalion, Field Artillery Battery. And, I still had a lot of responsibilities there. So I was trying to do the best I could in that, and then keep up with football and do everything I could to stay in shape. And then finally, in the spring of 2012, I did they used to have these NFL regional combines. And you could pay $200 to anybody could show up and try out. And it was good and bad. It was, it was almost like an NFL experience for some guys. Like they were just going just to, cause they want to see what it was like to try out for the NFL, but really, didn't have a shot. So it was, it was humbling, but it was an opportunity. So I had to try. And I did that I went down to Houston. I did one in Houston. And then I did well enough at that to qualify for a super regional combine. So I went on to that, and that was more like the actual combine. So that was in Detroit. I was one of 2 fullbacks that got selected. There were maybe 5 running backs and 2 fullbacks that got selected for the super regional combine. This was my shot. That was my opportunity right there. I mean, I knew it was, and going into it at the first combine, I really didn't have my best 40. I felt a little sluggish. But I knew going into this one, like I had to. It was either I run a 4.5 or I like don't even bother showing up. So like
Yeah.
I put in more training. Like I was working extremely hard for this super regional because I knew it was my last opportunity. And I went out there and gave it all that I had. I'd been working for it, and I went out there and ran like a 4.57 or something. I mean, it was like the best 40 I'd ever run in my life. And so, and it garnered some interest from there. And that's when I started getting some calls from some NFL teams. Actually, I believe it was Jacksonville who called me first, wanted me to come out for on a tryout basis at their mini camp. And then I guess Tennessee got wind of it that I was going to Jacksonville on a trial basis for mini camp. And they brought me in, actually, I think it was the Monday or Tuesday before I was supposed to leave on Thursday for that mini camp. And they worked me out and they signed me. It was May 1st, 2012. They signed me, to a rookie contract.
Wow.
So I was a undrafted free agent, signed with the Titans, and that was it. And I signed with them, and then I headed back to Fort Sill, and it was like this flurry of, what now? Like, so I had to figure out, how am I going to get, because I had to be back in 2 weeks. I had to be back for minicamp and rookie minicamp in like 2 weeks. So, wow. I had to figure out with the Army what they were going to do. Thankfully, my chain of command was unbelievable about everything. I mean, all the way up until all the way up to the CG of Fort Sill, the commanding general of Fort Sill, were unbelievable about everything, helping me, get to that mini camp, get to where I needed to be in order to take advantage of that opportunity. I couldn't be more thankful for everyone that, stuck their neck out for me and, made that happen. It was, a once in a lifetime opportunity, and the way that they were able to work with me in the NFL and Army human resources and everything, is unbelievable. And I can't be more grateful for that opportunity. So it wasn't the easiest route to the NFL. It wasn't the most traditional or linear route, but I got the opportunity and thankful that I did, and thankful that Tennessee gave me the opportunity. I mean, the Titans, were taking a chance on a guy that hadn't played football in 3 years. So it was unbelievable to think that, they were giving me a shot, and it was unbelievable to think that, I got the opportunity to stick around there for 3 years in Tennessee, and then, spend one in Atlanta. So, to play 4 years in the NFL, it was an unbelievable experience.
I think your story is pretty inspirational, because last week we had on Jeff Ajeckum, who played wide receiver for Army a couple of years back, and he's still serving in the Army, and he just popped in with a message there for you that his path has been kind of the same. He's looking for that chance, he's looking for that, maybe that regional combine chance, or just a chance, pro day or of some sort.
Yeah, it's not easy for sure.
Yeah, you look at now this year with Army linebacker John Radigan, he's going to go through a pro day. I think there's one at West Point, maybe scheduled for the middle of this month. And John's going to have a chance, but it's totally different now. I mean, it's totally like they can go straight into the NFL now with a contract and an opportunity. Do you remember like a first practice or a first game type memories in the NFL? Do you have any like of those type of stories, of those kind of, who you might have been up against, who you might have pancake maybe on a block or running down special teams or anything like that? Or?
Oh man. Lots of great memories with the NFL. I mean, it was an unbelievable experience overall. So I think the biggest memory from the coolest thing from my rookie season. So I was on the practice squad most of the year. I was activated for 2 games. I was activated against Houston, kind of mid-season. We were down a few running backs, so I got activated as a running back. Actually, I got activated as a running back for both games because I was playing running back on the practice squad, and so I got a lot of reps actually running the ball with the practice squad. So I remember it was against Jacksonville, the last game of the season. We were I think it was like 35-7 or something. I mean, we were winning pretty good. And so we were in a 4-minute drill at the end of the game, just trying to run the clock out. And they put me in a running back. They said, "Hey, go get 1 first down and finish this game out." And I said, "Yeah, all right, I'll do it." So I got like 5 carries. I got a first down. Like we literally ran the same play 5 times in a row. So I got some stats running the ball. Got some NFL stats. Got some carries. I'll be honest, I was running like it was a Super Bowl. I didn't care. Like I was putting it all out there because I knew like this is one. I'm a fullback. Like I don't get the ball ever. Like I don't ever get to run the ball. So in a real game, so I'm gonna run like I've never run in my life. So I ran super hard. I got the first down into the game, and that was it. So that was an unbelievable experience.
Do you keep the ball from that game, or no? Do you get a football from that game, or something like that to remember it, or no?
I don't know. I probably have one somewhere. But I didn't get like a game ball or anything.
But it's something.
Special.
It's definitely a memory.
At least it wasn't that special to anyone else. It was special to me. But
I'm thinking you got to be the last Army football player to carry the ball in the NFL, right? Because the other guys have probably been linemen. They've been linemen and they're linebackers.
Yeah. Lineman McNary was playing defense. Maybe.
Yeah, and I can't even I don't even know how far you would have to go back to find somebody before you. You might are we talking about the Heisman Trophy winners back in the day? I
don't. Like carried the ball in the NFL or played in the NFL?
Yeah, carried the ball in the NFL.
Carried the ball. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that stat.
Yeah, me. I should. I should, but I think you might have to go. Maybe like Glenn Davis. I don't know. I mean, there were linemen who played back in the day, like in the 50s and 60s, and NFL was different back then. But of course, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna have to go back and research that, Colin. I mean,
figure that one out.
Yeah. Because I know, you had Ronnie Makeda who was drafted by the Packers, but I don't think that he didn't get a chance to play in a game, quarterback. And I don't know. I think that could be you. It's crazy. Now the last few years with the Titans and the Falcons, I mean, you got to play with some really, amazing players too, right? I mean, he had some amazing teammates. I mean, forget it. So
yeah, unbelievable athletes. I mean, playing with guys like Chris Johnson, Julio Jones, I'm trying to think. Jake Locker was an unbelievable athlete. He was, plagued by injuries, but he was unbelievable.
Matt Ryan is Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan. Yeah. Gosh, there's so many guys. I can't.
Yeah, right.
Name them all, but there were so many unbelievable athletes. I mean, the guys in the NFL are just, they're just on a different level, and I was just trying to keep up. I mean, I had to work extremely hard just to keep up, a little bit. I mean, there were guys that are unbelievable athletes. I mean, just so gifted and so talented. It was amazing to watch some of those guys work.
Casey, you're a little younger at the time, but are you following Colin's career at the time? Are you keeping track of what might be going on in his NFL career?
Yeah, I was younger at the time. I know he went to the Titans, and that was big because my Uncle Kevin he would always talk about it. Like I coached him. That was a big thing he would talk about.
There's a lot of pride, no doubt, in that, right? I mean, and I don't know. I'm just thinking, Kyle. I'm just talking here that back home, I'm sure you had friends that were texting you. I'm sure you had your Army teammates texting you like after games and stuff like that, right? Especially maybe after that one game at the end of your rookie year. I mean, it has to. I mean, your cell phone's probably just popping off with text messages and voicemails. I imagine at that point, right?
Yeah, it was an unbelievable experience, and the support I had was unbelievable as well. And it wasn't just about me. At that point, I mean, it was something that we like. As Army football players, you want to see a guy in the league. There's not too many of them. So, to be able to represent the Army and to be able to represent Army football, it meant a lot. And be able to get the support from guys, text, whether it was a text or email or whatever it was, just to kind of get that, that support and to know that, it meant something to them as well. It was very cool. It was a very good experience to get that support from guys.
I know Army does it, but in the NFL, when you took the field, was there any time where you were carrying the American flag onto the field or anything like that? Did they do anything like that or no?
Yeah, so that's another one of my big memories, experiences. So it was my second season, and I'd gotten the starting job my second year. So I was up until maybe the second to last game of the season when I got hurt. I was active in playing, starting the entire year. So they actually asked me. So in Tennessee, we had this thing. It was the 12th Titan. You'd run out on the field with a sword and you just put it in the ground and do all this. So they asked me to do it for Military Appreciation Day, and I was kind of hesitant because I don't know. I felt kind of not weird about it, but just like, I don't know. Like I asked him if it could be the military that was a 12th Titan and not just me. Like I didn't want to, like the day wasn't supposed to be just about me. So I didn't want it to really be that way. So yeah, they said they were cool with that. And, so, I got to run on the field with the American flag, representing all military personnel that day. And, I got to do the whole sword. I probably bossed it, but I tried to do like a saber salute with the sword. I think it turned out all right, but it was a great experience to be able to do that. And that was a huge memory for me. And that was kind of, the culmination of, everything that I'd been through to get to that point. It just meant a lot. And to be able to represent the military and in that capacity, it was a big deal to me. Oh, nice. Yeah. There's the first year. That's from the day that I was, representing the military as the 12th Titan. So, ran out with the flag and then got to the middle of the field. They had the big sword, and I did the whole salute thing, and then put it in the ground and played the game. So
was 42 a number for you that meant a lot, or was 42 just the number the Titans gave you?
That was the number they gave me, but it was kind of cool to me because it was Pat Tillman wore the number. I don't know. I don't think he wore it in the NFL, but I think he wore it in his college days, and or maybe he did wear it in the NFL. I'm not sure, but he wore 42 at some point. So that was kind of the significance it had for me. But I wore number 30 at West Point. That was always my number, and I think I wore 30 in high school, and then got it at West Point. But then in the NFL, it was just like they gave me that number, but it just so happened to be that it was Pat Tillman's number, so that meant something to me just to have that Army connection and to be able to remember him in some kind of way.
Got any Collin Mooney 42 jerseys laying around anywhere or no?
I still have a couple of. I still have a couple game jerseys.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Talk about the transitioning from the NFL to now. after the NFL and what you're up to now. I know you were doing a little bit of some CrossFit, but now you're pursuing something that's definitely, another career for you. So potential.
Yeah. So yeah, after I was done playing, so I guess I finished, playing in 2016. And I was looking for opportunities. I got an opportunity at UBS, which is a large bank, and I got the opportunity to work in private wealth, and I did that for about 2 years, and decided I didn't feel like it was what I was supposed to be doing. I felt like there was something I was supposed to do, and I felt like I was being led towards medicine. And actually, it sparked my interest. It kind of had sparked my interest while I was playing, because I had a surgery. Basically, I had a surgery every single year that I was in the NFL. So I developed a pretty good relationship with the orthopedic guys for the Titans. And I remember I asked him if I could shadow him for a day just to see what it was like. And the experience was unbelievable. I love being in the OR. Just the way they're helping people, performing surgery and helping them get back to the living life the way that they want to live and feeling good again. So it was an experience that had a deep impact on me. Even and that was before I was even done playing. So I still spent another couple years playing before even looking at what I was going to do next. And the UBS opportunity was there, and I thought that I had to start somewhere. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do just yet, but that was an opportunity, and so I went that direction, and I just felt like there was something pulling me that I didn't really feel like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. So and I decided to leave UBS and go back to school. So it took me a couple of years actually. So I had to do I had to do 2 years of undergrad work to get the prereqs in order to be able to apply to medical school. So I left UBS in 2018, went back to school, and at that time, we found out that my father-in-law was going to have a heart transplant because he has a very rare disease called amyloidosis, and it affected his heart. So he was going to have a heart transplant, and we decided that we were living in Nashville at the time, and we decided that we were going to move closer in Pennsylvania, and to him and my wife's family. So we just basically sold everything we had in Nashville, and we moved to Pennsylvania. We lived with my in-laws, while I was going to school for almost 2 years. So we were living in my in-laws' attic for almost 2 years. So it was a wild time because we had a 3-year-old, and like a month after we moved in, we found out we were having twins. So it was like, yeah, it was a lot. So, but I went through all the classes, took the MCAT, did everything, and got a lot of rejections. Medical school is unbelievably competitive. It was super tough. But Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine gave me an opportunity, and I jumped all over it. So I just started in August, and I'm now going into my third term. We just finished second term. So we were supposed to have a spring break, but because of COVID, they didn't want anyone going anywhere because we'd have to do this whole, quarantine thing in order to get back in the lab. So they gave us some labs this week in order to keep us around. So yeah, going into my third term and navigating medical school and learning as much as I can. It's been an unbelievable experience so far. It's just learning medicine and learning, physiology and anatomy and everything that goes along with it has been unbelievable.
Quite the journey, man. And down the road, we're going to be able to call you Dr. Mooney, right? Somewhere down the road, or?
Yeah. Hopefully in a few years it'll be Dr. Mooney. Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, from you talked about your time at Army and how you weren't recruited much to setting the single season record to go into the NFL and now pursuing a career in medicine. Absolutely great stuff, Colin. We really appreciate you coming on today to talk about your time at Army and now what you're up to. And we got to thank Casey Shorter for joining us too today. I mean, a little bit of the past Army fullbacks to now the future of Army fullbacks with Casey. And I'm glad that we can connect you guys today. Casey, we really appreciate you coming on today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Casey, word of advice, just put your head down and run hard, man. Just give it all you got every single play. Stay low, run hard. You got a great coach in VD. He's gonna coach you up well. You couldn't ask for a better guy. Mentoring you and leading you. Mike VD's unbelievable. He's an unbelievable person. If you know anything about his background, he's just an unbelievable person and a great guy to be able to play for. I mean, you have such a great opportunity, playing fullback at Army. I mean, that's, you talk about something that'll change your life, not just in football. I'm talking your life in general. It'll have a huge impact on you and the relationships you'll develop and, the things you'll be able to do and the things you'll be able to handle and deal with after you graduate from there. It's a great place and a great opportunity. So I wish you the best of luck, and you're going to do great. You're going to have a great football career and you're going to have a great Army career. So I wish you all the best, and it's great to be able to see you and talk to you in person or virtually in person, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was awesome. Today was awesome, man. We appreciate it, Colin and Casey. You can check out this podcast on Apple Podcasts. We're all over the podcast platforms. We're live on Facebook at blackknightnation.com. Catch all our interviews there too. Colin and Casey, thanks, and everybody else, have a great day.
Thanks, Al.